Like I said earlier, when we were just friends, and I kind of knew if I cross this bridge, like there's no going back across the bridge.
Guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Black Love Season 4, Episode 1. Talking to you about the various couples today. We're going to talk about Joy and also her husband, Terrence, who've been married for 7 years. I'm just going to break it down for you guys well. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you returnees, and you already know what it is, baby, look at what it says. Mineral Gang. You understand? Yeah? Mineral Gang. Make sure you get your hoodies in there. You get me? Mineral Gang. You understand? Yeah? You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, cool. Let me sip my water and we gonna get it cracking, baby. Let's get it going. So, it was interesting obviously watching these two because I think their story is really interesting. They've been friends for a long time, okay? Best friends, and then got into a relationship, and I think it's very a unique situation to be in. I think many of us have been friends maybe with a partner before and then got into a relationship. It's a unique experience. The reason why I say that is because I've also been in one before, and it's unique in the sense of the fact that, like Terrence said, once you cross that path and you go past that line, there ain't no coming back. You know this, so it's a cautionary step to take, right? You take that step and
Our own things, and
just like true friends, like no makeup, sweats, side ponytail, like nothing was cute about me.
you know that, listen, there's no coming back from this. If I go here, yada yada, and it goes wrong, this ain't gonna be pretty for us because we were originally friends, and that line that we never crossed allowed us to continue being friends, right? Now we've crossed it. If we, how would we even be able to think about going back? I've now seen you in a certain light. I've now felt you in a certain light. And I always believe as well with male and female friendships, there is always one that liked the other more than the other, right? There's always someone who's thought about it more than the other person, right? Someone has liked the other person more. And I think this person in this situation was with Joy. The reason why I say that is because during the part of the conversation, they were talking about
situations, friends. At the time,
You know,
she said the one like there's a whole bunch of them. There wasn't a whole bunch of situations
about who had who, right? And he was explaining the fact that, you know, at the time before they got together, he had a few situations that he was going through, right? And oftentimes the person who's got several situations is the one that actually holds the power in that friendship in terms of who is liked. Okay, the person who's often got the situationships going on the side is often the one that is telling the information to the other friend who's become like a counselor to them, and that person who's a counselor, which is Joy, I believe, in that relationship, is the one that likes the individual person. Why? Because they're seeing all the mistakes and the flaws. They're seeing all the great things that they can do, and it's a thought in the mind. Okay, and so it was very, very interesting watching them. Before I go any further, I want you to just watch this body language here as well. I think this is probably even a more key thing for me. I felt like watching Joy and Terrence together. Joy's leg, I don't know, maybe she just feels very, very comfortable that way. I'm going to read it, and it may be a wrong reading, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But Joy's leg for me was telling its own story. Why? Your left leg, which is the dividing line between yourself and Terrence, okay, was there. And I'm not saying that she was trying to do anything per se. I think it's subconscious. I just don't think she's as open as we're seeing on the screen. I don't think she's that open emotionally. I feel like he has to press open the emotion. I think he had to take his time with her, right? Even though they were friends, I feel like he had to take his time with her. Why? Because remember I said as well, he was the guy that had all the situationships, okay? Because that leg there meant that he couldn't get close. That leg there meant that when he was hugging her with his arm like that, there was a gap between the two of them and there was no physical touching between them. That leg stopped any, if it stopped any kind of getting too close to me. And I think it's a subconscious thing, not a conscious thing. Subconscious thing that her leg came up, right? Maybe she's just not very comfortable with physical touch. Maybe that's the truth of it. Maybe she's not very a touchy-feely kind of person. But when you watch later on, he did actually close the gap. He actually got closer, right? And sat next to her, and the body was a bit more, I think his leg was actually touching her leg, right? But her leg was still up, right? Now, you can see all the other couples, no one's leg is up like that. Right? No one's leg is up like that. Why? Because you try to accompany, or at least try to accommodate your partner on that sofa, because again, it's about the continuity, it's about the unification, and it's about you two becoming one, right? And that is shown not only through your emotions, but also through your physical actions, right? So when I saw that leg, I said, darling, you know, are you not letting him in emotionally as far as you maybe have there's some issue, not even issues, there's some things in your life that you maybe you don't let him into, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that leg was telling me a lot, man. You know what I mean? That's just my sentiment. You understand? Cool. Back to their story. Obviously, yes, we know that obviously they've been friends for 3 years, etc., etc. And I always think to myself as well, yes, he was also dating a few people along the way. And then she says something which is really interesting.
Him saying that he did have somebody, but that the possibility of me was better than the absolute of her.
It was about the fact that obviously who asked who what for food or whatever. He asked her for a dinner date, right? And obviously, again, I guess his mind obviously had switched at that point. He asked her to accompany her to a law dinner date as a date, right? And for her, that's where things switched for her, right? And I'm guessing the reason why it switched for her at that point is because she was totally oblivious. Never thought maybe he liked her like, maybe she never thought that he liked her like that. It's funny because none of them mentioned that, you know, I was looking at you in that way. None of them mentioned that, oh, do you know what, I thought about us in that way. They both mentioned that we were both just deep, deep friends. At one point, he even said, listen, we were both not even looking at each other like that. We were just friends. Like, rah. And I don't know who's not opening their mouth to say that they never thought about it. I think one person did think about it, and I think it was Joy. Not because she's a woman, but because of the way that they've spoken about the issue. And so, you know, she said her mind switched at that date point, right?
And I was so sad when he got out of the car. And I thought, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Do I like him? No, I don't like him. Am I lonely? Like, I went through all these scenarios in my head. And so then he asked.
When he asked her for a date, that's when it switched. For him, again,
I think it switched. It was like a little bit of there was a little bit of like a transition period for me in my mind, because we had legitimately become like best friends.
He said to himself, obviously a point, he said this as well, that he really felt like he loved the fact that he can be himself. And I think many people underestimate this. In my current relationship, like, I'm just me. One, because I've grown in maturity. Two, the person allows me to be that. And three, also as well, I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Like, I was having a discussion with my missus the other day, because we went to the gym together. And she was like, wait, you dance in the gym like coach? Like, come on, man. I said, listen, darling, that's me. Where I go, I dance, I do what I do. She was like, yeah, but why? Because I want to. Because I am not anybody else. I'm not normal. I'm not like everybody else. I cannot be everybody else. I want to dance. I want to sing. I want to be vibrant. That is me. The moment I turn that off for you or anybody else, I'm no longer me. And I will never do that. Right? Never. Never want to do that. Because I want to be me. And you should allow me to be me. You understand? And so that's the kind of place you want to be. And as a man, you want to be there. And we'll talk about a couple as well, about speaking about that, because they mentioned this about the fact that they felt comfortable enough to be themselves.
It didn't feel like you had to, like, I didn't feel like I had to.
Around their partner. And I think every man who wants to marry somebody eventually gets to a mindset of, okay, you're buff, but will you allow me to be me? Because that's a key defining moment, because a man doesn't want to have to pretend to be something else. He wants to be himself. His true, authentic self. He wants to be accepted for who he is. You get me? You know, and then, you know, the way that Joy chimed in at this point that made me think as to why the leg is up, as to why, you know, maybe she may be thinking that, you know, he was a better catch. I'm just personally, just my thoughts. I may be wrong. Comment down below. Was when she said something really interesting. She said, "Oh."
Him saying that he did have somebody, but that the possibility of me was better than the absolute of her.
And it was really odd, because obviously he was talking about the fact that he had other things on the side. Not like during a relationship, but that the fact that he had situationships. And the fact that she added that, I don't know, it just felt like she was trying to almost reassure herself that I am the great catch here that you said I was, right? So that mention, it gave a slightly it was on the same tangent, but it just felt odd. The energy with it didn't feel quite right. It almost as if like, you know, wanted to reassure herself by saying these words, by saying the fact that, you know, she was a much better catch, even if there was a half chance of her than it was for these other girls, right? And remember I was talking about women. Women want to feel that they are the most precious, beautiful, significant, special thing in your life. They want this, yeah? That's why they like these celebrity, because a celebrity who's made it to the top of the hill, once he collects her, it makes her feel important. It makes her feel like a champion. It makes her feel like she is, you know, a goddess, you know what I mean? Significant, special, to be worshipped. Do you understand? And so I don't know if that comment was to try and bring that same energy or ethos into the situation. You know, and I love the fact that they mentioned about the fact they both had great plans and they wanted to make sure they achieved that.
Both were very much so pursuing our dreams. And nobody was going to get in the way of that. And so I think we both clicked on that.
And one of the understandings that they had was that, listen, guy, as for me and my house, we want to serve our dreams. We want to complete them, we want to accomplish them, and we want to live them. And so therefore, they came to an understanding that, listen, both of us are going to look to do these things. We're not going to cancel each other out. We're not going to stop each other from doing these things. Which I appreciate. And I think a lot of couples do need to take the time and be like, hey, do you have any dreams? Do you have any goals? And let's try to achieve them. And I think that's a main thing. And then later, like I said, at the end, he then closed the gap. And then she said something really, really key. She said something, again, pushing my narrative of that. I think that she feels that she's got a great catch in Terrence. And the fact I think she liked him even as friends, but maybe didn't say anything, was the fact that she said, obviously, she would follow him off a cliff. Why? Because she believed that there will be provision at the bottom of the cliff. Like, and I love that analogy. I think it's a great analogy to say how much she trusts him, how much she appreciates him. But it made me understand something, that, you know, she really does love this guy, really does care for this guy, and really does trust his judgment. And interestingly enough, earlier on, she also said as well, like, you know, we were friends to a point where she made a joke about, oh, going to even dinner, she, like, you know, like not even brushing her teeth or whatever, no makeup, nothing, because they're just friends. They're just so great friends that you don't think about doing the extra stuff that you would do preparing for a date and stuff like that. So obviously they've grown from that friendship, and I think it's a beautiful thing to have. And so yeah, I don't know what you guys think about the situation. I really like their relationship. That leg thing though for me was a big thing for me. It's like, what emotional barrier is there that she's stopping that, or does she not like physical touch or whatever? Because later on he tried to move in closer, but still the leg was there. It might just be nothing, but I believe every action that we do is conscious and there's a reason for it. Same way I always do this. It's because I feel like my lip might be dry. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a conscious reason why we do it. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you returning, you really know what it is, baby. Mineral gang. Let us know your thoughts down below and comment down below.